Welcome into the DNVR Avalanche Podcast, live and presented by Bet365. We got Bailey and Rudo coming to you as the Avs lose in regulation for just the third time this season. They dropped this one 2-1 to the Florida Panthers. Look, no need to talk about the game. We will, but let's start with the actual news everybody cares about. Gabe Landeskog hurt in this game. It looked like a pretty tough crash into the boards, officially listed as upper body, which might be better. Look, we don't have any real information. Anything we do talk about here is going to be at least somewhat speculation, but it seems like they likely avoided the worst case scenario, at least.
I was a little terrified when you first start to slow it down a little bit and seeing how his leg kind of jerked. It looks like it hit like a weird patch of ice in the middle of the zone, which is terrifying. At first it's one leg, now it looks like it could possibly be the other, but this is about as lucky of a break as you can get. And injuries, like obviously you never want them to happen, but a lot of times you get more uncomplicated injuries when you're dealing with an upper body sort of situation. This seems like if he's going to come out of this one injured, this is a best case scenario for a guy like Gabe Landeskog.
Yeah, with it officially being upper body, he crashes into the post with his midsection.
Mm-hmm.
Could potentially be ribs. He crashes into the boards kind of awkwardly back first. So maybe it could be his back. I doubt that it's his arms. Again, I'm not a doctor. This is just speculation, but given the way he got off the ice, he had guys under both of his arms. It didn't seem like the arms were the problem. So it's something else upper body would be my guess.
And you almost wonder with the way that McKinnon picked him up too.
Yeah.
Like he caught him around the side. Like my first thought is, oh God, we just saw a very similar type contact injury with Seth Jarvis, and he's still out with a rib injury.
Yep.
And like that's where my mind first goes when looking at this for Gabe. So I'm almost kind of hoping, obviously we're still waiting on confirmation for Bednar post-game quotes and things of that sort, but if it's ribs, like I feel a lot more comfortable, I think, with that. And that's really what it looks like here.
Yeah, I mean, ribs is probably best outcome because there's no real complications that you break a rib.
You're just waiting on pain. It hurts.
Yeah, right. Like you set the rib and that's it. You could theoretically play. It would be unbelievably painful. Don't play. But if Landy misses a couple weeks with ribs, the Avs got out of that with pretty good luck. If it's something else, and like again, he could have torn a muscle in his abdomen. He could have broken his back. I truly have no idea. I'm not a doctor, so we don't know.
Yeah. No,
but we're hoping for best case scenario.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things that, I mean, you don't love to see after this too is it affects the Avs game. Like the Avs play with a considerable wind lost from their sails after that injury, and don't really pick it back up until like the later part of the third period. So it's unfortunate all around, just kind of rounded out. I felt like from the halfway point of the first period, especially, that this was not one that was going to go the Avs way.
Yeah, there is a million reasons that we'll get into on how this game ended up the way it did for the Avalanche. But ultimately, a loss is small in comparison to Gabe Landeskog's situation.
Yes, absolutely.
If you find out Gabe Landeskog is not going to be out that long, this loss is pretty irrelevant to me.
Yep.
We will spend the rest of the show breaking it down, though, because I do think there is a lot worth talking about in this game. Should we hit the 60-second rundown first? Cool. Let's do it. First period, it was pretty even at times. Florida had stretches of good. The Avs had stretches of good. Both teams are able to get on the board once to make it 1-1. Lehkonen scoring for the Avs to even the game after Florida scored a bit earlier. The second period, even then, it looked like the Avs were out of gas in this game before the Landy injury came, and then just even further off the cliff for this team. Power play definitely let them down. 0 for 4 on the power play for the Avs, including 3 in the second period. And one finds its way to the back of the net as the Avs struggle in their own zone for Florida to make it 2-1. And then the third period was mostly academic. I mean, the Avs tried. Like, I don't want to discredit them. I think they put the effort in, but their effort was won on an empty gas tank. And 2-1 ends up being your final because of that. That's the short version. The long version is there's a million reasons why the Avs were set up for failure here, and they just couldn't get it over the hump this time.
Yep. I do want to let you know that there was confirmation from Bednar. Both Devon Taves and Gabe Landeskog will miss some time. Landeskog is still being evaluated. Sound like it was a rib cage injury. And Nathan McKinnon apparently said in pressers, paraphrased, this is all via Corey Massasak of the Denver Post, that bones heal easier than ligaments and tendons. So take with that what you will.
Probably a broken rib.
But
yeah.
Yep, that's what it sounds like. So
yeah, which sucks, obviously, but of the potential bad things to happen, probably not too bad.
Yeah, so I anticipating week to week for it, but yeah, that's a sting, especially as far as the defensive side of the Avs is concerned too.
Yeah, no answer here was going to be a good one. Obviously, the Avs are going to have to face a little bit of adversity here with no Landy and no Taves over whatever amount of time it ends up being. But if that amount of time is measured in weeks and not months, they'll be all right.
Yeah. So unfortunate.
This game, was there a version of this game that looks better, or was this just, it was finally time for things to catch up to the Avs?
As much as you wanted, another comeback third period miracle, the Avs were due for something. As we were joking about before hitting record, they're hitting the halfway point of the season with 3 regulation losses. 2 would have been, that's a crazy stat to go into, but in the grand scheme of things, 3 is still an insane stat to think about when you consider that the second best team in the league in the Dallas Stars have 9. Like, that's still 6 better than your furthest, your closest opponent. Like, the Avs are fine. They're allowed to lose a game from time to time, especially with the run that they are on right now. And if this is the one that they lose against a really hard fought battle against Carolina, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. They win 10 in a row and lose 1, and you do that for the rest of the season, and you're actually overpowered. Like, that's not.
Yeah.
Given the Landy news and the Taves news, they're probably going to lose some more games in January, would be my guess. There might be a little bit of a return to planet Earth on that front. But this one, look, there's a lot of really sloppy play from the Avs. There's a lot of functionally poor stuff going on in this hockey game. But also, they pulled off a multi-goal comeback 20 hours before the puck drop of this game that very clearly affected how much they had in the tank. Because of the Blackwood situation, Wedgwood had to start again, which this game is not Wedgwood's fault at all. The Avs only scored one goal. You got to score more than one if you expect to win. Realistically, you just have too many reasons to not worry about the loss, right?
No, there's plenty of other things to sit and break down here, but as we've kind of said, like I'm not as mad at this one as I maybe would be if you're getting an Avs team off of rest. You're getting, a fully healthy iteration of the team. Like I really, there's not a whole lot for me. Like, yes, obviously things went wrong, but there's not a whole lot that I'm upset about.
Yeah, there's only one thing that I think I really am disappointed in this game, and that's the power play. And not even because of what the Avs power play is and has been. It's you're in a Segababa, you're in a situation where you don't have legs, and you end up with 4 power play opportunities in this game. Realistically, you have to find a way to cash in to have a
at
real
least
chance.
On one of them.
Yeah, I'm not asking to go 3 for 4 or anything, but you got to get one. You needed one in this game to really give yourself a chance.
No, as much as you want the Tinkerbell magic to come and fix things for you again, Brock Nelson cannot be a hero on the power play every single time. It takes more than just one person to get it going, and it looked as stagnant and broken, and there were some versions of it that maybe looked okay, but for the most part, like I was pretty much unimpressed with everything they did on the man advantage. And again, you look at what Brock Nelson was able to do in the last game, and that was very, very impressive, and you want to hope that you see that more often in the future. But Brock Nelson can't be the only guy working on your man advantage. He can't be the only guy putting pucks in the back of the net, especially when you have a Cale Makar on the blue line ripping pucks. You've got a Nathan MacKinnon who is very good at moving the puck. You saw what he was capable of, especially in the last couple minutes of this game. And that's just kind of the storyline here for me, especially where the power play is concerned. Like it's got to be. It is so frustrating. I know from our standpoint to sit here and see all of that talent just kind of go to waste in situations like this, especially when you're looking at those to be the problem solver for what's already kind of a blah type game.
I mean, Cale Makar was downright pedestrian on the power play, just non-threatening for most of them. I don't know necessarily what it is, but for whatever reason, the shot from out high doesn't seem like it's dangerous from Cale Makar. It hasn't for a long time on the power play this year. I think that's almost becoming a bigger problem than the whatever you're getting out of Nathan MacKinnon on any given power play at this point. And obviously the bar is set ridiculously high for Cale Makar, and realistically, as much as you would love it every night, your top guys are allowed off nights, and we'll get into MacKinnon and Nate just a little bit more, or really whatever combination of the Avs top line you want to look at. But it really feels like it's got to come from Makar on the power play for me.
Especially too, like looking at this game as a whole from Makar, he's playing 28 minutes. Which, I mean, that just goes to show, as we've said before, the trust from Jared Bednar for him to go and produce. But as Bednar's also mentioned before, is the guys are given the minutes that they are for a reason. You have to go out there and do something with them. Those power play minutes mean just that much more for a guy like Cale Makar, who's playing that much. And yes, your top guys are allowed to have off nights. That's not what I'm saying at all. And I mean, we see that from a lot of guys, Cale Makar included. It's just really frustrating when you see all of that trust going into a guy like Cale Makar, because Bednar expects him to be like, okay, real Cale Makar can come out to play now. Like that's the expectation, and it just did not happen.
It didn't. There's a lot more to cover in the defense from the Avs today too, which we'll get into, but we do need to take our first break of the show. So let's shout out some of our sponsors here as we are brought to you, new sponsor for us in Xfinity. You can get the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Imagine if you could have reliable and intelligent Wi-Fi, and what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? That's the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. All your devices working in perfect harmony for 5 whole years. Your Wi-Fi that can find and fix problems before you even notice them, like the super intelligent Wi-Fi with a sixth sense. And you can stream the games, even whether it's real video games or hockey games. Either way, Xfinity's got you covered. Even when the whole family is online. And the best part, no annual contracts, no hidden fees, and Xfinity's best equipment included. Lot can change in 5 years, obviously. Championships are won, records are broken, dreams grow bigger. But what if your Wi-Fi just stayed reliable and the price stayed put? You can learn more at xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Of course, select plans only and restrictions apply. Go to xfinity.com for more details. Once you're hooked up on your internet, make sure you're getting over to Bet365 as the presenting sponsor of this show. They're also an official partner of the Colorado Avalanche. You can get a bunch of great deals. They have early payout with the NHL. If your team ever goes up by 3, you get paid out immediately, so you don't have to worry about comebacks. When you sign up, use code DNVR365, put $10 in your account, bet $5 on anything. You don't even have to hit the $5 bet. Win or lose, you'll get $150 in bonus bets from Bet365 to play with. They have great parlay boosts all the time. It's just a fun time. Go enjoy yourself with some Bet365. Again, that $5 bet, win or lose on a new account with code DNVR365 to get $150 in bonus bets, which can be used on pretty much any bet at Bet365. Of course, you must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER today. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. The main focus of the day is obviously on Landy's injury because it happened within this game. But Devon Toews being out for this game, the Avs defense was frankly in shambles for a significant portion of this hockey game.
No, I don't know as though there is one specific defenseman that I'm, pleased with tonight. And I think the one guy maybe at the top of my list is Samuel Girard, and that's not saying a whole lot in my eyes.
He was definitely the better Sam, that's for sure.
Yes, absolutely. And that's something I do want to talk about here as well in a little bit. Yeah. But looking at it's a little scary to me, I think, how in this game, how reliable you see that this defense has become on a guy like Devon Toews. That's not okay. And especially when you look at a last game, even when Devon Toews was in, that pairing was one of the, if not the worst pairing of the night. Yep. And they turn around and it looks somehow even worse. So I don't really know as though I have a whole lot of hope here. Unfortunately, especially too when you look at how jumbled things got into. You're trying things out everywhere. You see a Solovyov playing with Makar at some point. The Sams start playing around everywhere. Burns is getting moved around everywhere. It's alarming.
Yeah.
I think is the best word that I can find for it.
And this defense as constructed, whatever. There's some shock of no Toews being in there. The lines are jumbled. The legs are clearly tired. Again, I'm not taking too many, if any, of these issues big picture out of this game. But I do think you look at someone like Brent Burns in this game, and was he the worst defender in this game? No. But that's a guy that with a Toews out, you're looking at to play probably some more significant minutes. We've seen Bednar willing to play him 18, 19, 20 minutes a game with Toews in the lineup. And that he might have had the worst legs in the team. There were multiple shifts where he literally just stood still in the defensive zone. Nothing to say about any of, and he's 40 years old and playing a back-to-back in 20 hours. Again, context matters, but boy, were you not going to be able to get minutes out of him in a desperation game like this.
No, what's a little concerning to me too is looking at these minutes is after Cale Makar, he's the one defenseman that played the second most minutes,
Yeah.
and he played 20 minutes and 57 seconds. Samuel Girard played 20:05. And that to me, especially when you're looking at a guy of his stature, he's not a physical guy, but he is somebody who you're expecting like he's the one who you can rely to put up a little bit of offense, and you need him to take a step back from that in a game like this.
Yeah.
And that's what's most frustrating here to me is, yes, I know he's in the later stage of his career, but that inability to kind of shift roles and read the ice and read the room a little bit is unfortunate, but you need that out of a guy like him. It seemed like Samuel Girard was able to do that just a little bit, and I mean, not on the physical side of things,
Of
obviously,
course.
but taking a step back from his normal role to play a bit more reliable defense than we've maybe seen from him in games past. And Brent Burns wasn't able to convert and do the same is the most frustrating part of this for me. A guy that's expected to eat minutes, and
Yeah.
that's what he did with them.
I mean, he played a lot of minutes. I don't know that he did a lot in those minutes.
So I don't know. It is really frustrating. Do we want to go ahead and talk about
Yeah. Let's
Malinsky
talk about it.
now? That's I one of the most unpleasing games, I think, from a guy like Sam. Board battles were, I mean, it almost directly leads to the first goal given up to
Yeah.
Florida, and that's where you look at the Sam pairings and Sam pairing, and you love what Sam Malinsky has been able to do this season. Not for that reason. Not for what he did there, and it makes you think a little bit more about, especially we're looking at this Avs team is without a Devon Taves for a little bit, how much more of that you might be getting out of a Sam Malinsky who's maybe taking a bit of a step into a more defensive role than he might be used to playing so far in the season.
Yeah, I mean, this was Sam Malinsky's worst game of the season by like probably a pretty good. This might be the worst game of his career, to be honest. Like, it was that bad. And games like that happen. Again, a lot of this game is games like this happen, but you really needed it to not be this game for Sam Malinsky.
Yeah. Again, like you're looking at the last half of a back-to-back.
Yeah.
You're looking to get as much out of your depth guys as possible.
Yep.
And then looking at, yes, the Sams were one of, if not the best defensive line of the game last season or last game. And that's in a game where you're looking for that depth to take that step forward and step into new roles and pick up some of that slack left behind by Devon Taves. You're not getting that. And that's where that hurts the most, especially for that first goal from Florida. You can't do that. You can't have that. And I understand the guys are tired. I understand this is a really hard road trip. You're playing 3 games in 4 days. I understand you might be tired, but you can't allow that to happen. And if that's a habit that you're going to get into, I don't have a whole lot of faith in the next couple games if this is where the defense is headed.
There's a little bit of understanding the moment there, right? You know, you're going into this game tired. You know, you're maybe not going to have your best stuff in a game like this. You don't have to make the crazy play along the boards. Just keep the play in front of you. If Sam Malinsky keeps that guy in front of him, there's no open lane to the net. We're probably not talking about this first goal going in. And then you follow it up with, you continue to make poor decisions, poor plays, poor everything from Malinsky. It just never really got better on the night. And Sam Malinsky has played great. He's earned his spot in the lineup. You don't look at one bad game and go, this is a long-term problem, but you do look at that and go, okay, he was not the guy that stepped up for you today.
No, not at all. And I will go out of my way to say board battles as a whole just were not the Avs forte. in
No,
tonight's game.
they-
That's
they
one of
got
the
cooked,
biggest, yeah, it's one of the biggest points of contention that I had with this game from the team as a whole. But it's really easy to hone in on one like that when it leads to what is ultimately your third loss of the season.
Yeah.
Or third real loss of the season, I will say. So yeah, I'm very quick to say, like, Sam's got that microscope on him, but that's a problem as a whole for this team tonight.
Yeah, they did not win a lot of battles. Florida, credit to them, worked their butts off and outworked the Avs for the majority of the game when it comes to those things like board battles and the little details. And that's one of the reasons the Avs lost this hockey game, by getting outworked, getting outskated. And again, yeah, context, you shouldn't be surprised that the Avs got outskated in the Sega Baba, but they did get outskated ultimately. So fine.
I'm going to open this can of worms here too with Josh Manson.
Yep.
And the interference call. I know I have my thoughts on this.
Made up. This is made up.
It's the second call in 2 games that really seem to go against Josh Manson. I think that's the thing that I'm the most mad about. But it just like, why is that happening? I understand that hockey is a fast game. I understand that this is it's hard to see everything, and obviously mistakes are going to be made. But I don't understand why that's I understand you have problems with TJ Luxmore. I understand that this is somebody you have a history with. That seems like an inexcusable call.
I don't know how you get to interference on that play. Go look at the ridiculous bodies running into each other in the third period of this game. And not a single one of those gets called interference, because they're not like the correct to not call it interference. But how do you see those plays and then call what happens with Josh Manson and a guy running into the backside of his skate where Josh Manson isn't even looking at interference? Like, I just don't understand the disconnect there. And
it reminds me of something that happened a few years ago to Cale Makar, where he's back checking, skating backwards, runs into a guy, and Cale Makar gets called for the interference. It's those little calls like that really, you need a more specific rule here then, if that's the kind of call you're making for interference. If you're just randomly touching a guy, like, that's fine if that's a call, but call it consistently.
Yes, you call it consistently, but also you could just get the calls correct, right?
Yeah.
The average time to replay around the league when it comes to broadcast rooms is 15 seconds or less. You can have the replay. You can see you clearly got the call wrong, and someone can radio down or whatever and say, hey, that's not actually a penalty. And you can take the penalty away and we can all move on with our lives having got the correct call. But for whatever reason, the NHL doesn't want to do that, despite being perfectly okay with a 10-minute long challenge process. I just don't understand the arbitrary lines the NHL has drawn about wanting to get calls right, but not trying that hard to actually get calls right.
Yeah, it just pissed me off so much. That was taking the Landeskog thing out of today's game. That is the thing that I think frustrated me the most is that the officiating. I hate harping on the officiating, but it's situations like that just makes me so frustrated with the way that this game is run sometimes.
It is. It's unbelievably frustrating, but then the Avs go 0 for 4 on the power play anyway, and you go, well, oh well.
It didn't matter all that much. I mean, end up killing everything. So I guess it's, that's one check mark in the Avs book tonight, but it's so frustrating, man.
Yeah, it is. And fair shout. For a team with tired legs, the Avs penalty kill was actually good tonight. They only had to kill 2, but it was actually quite good. So if you're looking for positives, if you're looking for silver linings, I think that's definitely one of them. We do need to take our second break of the show. So let's do that, and then we can dig into more of the silliness, the nonsense of this game, as we are brought to you by the folks at New Built Restoration and Construction. New Built is licensed general contractors who can help with any project, big or small. They're available 24/7 and truly care about being there for their customers. Unfortunately, sometimes emergencies do happen with your home or other location, and New Built offers repair services including fire damage, water damages, mold damage, repair services in general, even commercial projects. They've got you covered, and they'll work with your insurance to make sure a stressful process is as smooth as possible. Plus, they're true DNVR fans, so we're super excited to support their business as it's all good between all of us. Support everyone local. Always a good thing to do. When that home emergency hits, New Built Restoration and Construction will be there at newbuilt.com. That's NUBILT.com. Or call 720-903-4254 and let them know that DNVR sent you over to New Built. And then you can also make sure you're taking care of your business. Do you want to sell more than the Avs power play sells? Shopify is the way to actually sell things you want to sell, unlike the Avs selling on their power play. Shopify is an e-commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S. You got to get with them if you sell pretty much anything. It even powers the DNVR merch store here. You can buy shirts like this one. That's Shopify doing the back end work there. They've got you covered with more than just the selling, though. Website creation, product descriptions, email and social media marketing. They even have AI tools designed to help you maximize sales. If you're ready to sell, you're ready for Shopify. Turn those big business ideas into cha-ching with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/allcity. That's shopify.com/allcity. Cha-ching. Third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast, continuing through here. And I talked about Cale Makar, being pretty pedestrian for the Avs on the power play. Your Avs top line was downright atrocious in this hockey game. Before Landeskog got hurt, the Natchez, McKinnon, Landeskog top line, when they were together at 5-on-5 in this game, did not register a single shot attempt. And it didn't get much better in the second half of the game. You just got genuinely nothing out of your top guys.
You didn't see the real version of Nathan McKinnon until probably the last couple minutes of the third period.
The last 5 seconds.
You see Madkinnon finally start to emerge.
Yeah.
And that's an issue when, again, you're looking at a team that is coming off of a game with tired legs. You're hoping some of that momentum from such a miracle comeback comes to help them out a little bit. But when you're on that second game of a back-to-back and you're tired and maybe you're not expecting all of your guys at full strength, that's where your top guys need to come out to shine. And I don't understand it. Like, it's really hard to sit here and be completely mad if you're looking solely at the score sheet. If you're looking at some of those like blatant numbers, Nathan McKinnon finished the night with 5 shots on goal, which, looking at any other guy on any other team,
right,
like that's a great night for that guy, right? That's
sure.
That's maybe a little underwhelming for a guy like Nathan McKinnon, who, again, like championship traits. We talk about it all the time. You expect more, unfortunately. Like that expectation is too high for a guy like Nathan McKinnon to perform that way. And I that's not even talking about a guy like Martin Necas too, who talk about downright atrocious. That was This was not Necas's night at all.
No. Necas he just did nothing. Let's be honest. He didn't do almost a single thing effective in this hockey game. And
he wasn't very visible.
Not at all
tonight. Like that's where, like, even on some of his bad nights, you look at it and it's like, okay, that's iffy. Like I can't even put a percentage on it. Like he was just not visible in a lot of instances to me.
And the expectation is for a player like that who gets paid what he gets paid is that never happens. You should never be invisible. And both him and McKinnon have had stretches of this year where we gloss over the invisible because at the end of the day, they pull it out. They pick up 2 points in the third period. They score a big goal to tie the game, whatever the play might be. They're usually good for it. They usually come through even if they're having a quiet night. And, MacKinnon is this close to doing it in the last 5 seconds of the game. And if he does that, we're having a very different conversation. But this time, the Avs didn't convert on that. And you have to fall on the shoulders of your best players. Like when a game like this plays out the way that it does, the loss has to be shouldered by your best players not getting it over the line.
No, and I do want to point out in saying too, like I thought the middle six again was just okay.
Yeah,
tonight.
Sure.
You get some good pushes from a guy like Jack Drury, I think, in the final frame, which helps certainly when you're putting those good chances, those higher chances on a guy like Daniil Tarasov, who absolutely came and pulled this game out for Florida too, especially in those final minutes where you're looking at a one Nathan MacKinnon shot that he heads out of the way soccer style, and that was incredible to watch. Those are saves 9 out of 10 times that are going in the back of the net.
Yep.
And then Nathan MacKinnon pulling something out of his bag of tricks to go and try to get something. I mean, Tarasov was a huge part of Florida's win tonight too. And that's not to discredit what the work that the guys were putting in front of him too. But looking at a guy like Jack Drury, who's putting up those chances, a guy like Arturi Lehkonen, who's working in front of the net, your middle six really is who carried the brunt of this game for this Avs team. And that's, as nice as that is, that's what we saw in a good portion of yesterday too. And in a game where you're looking, like you're not getting everything you need out of your top guys. This is the game like, okay, let's step it up a little bit. We're looking for a little bit more. This is like those champion traits we keep talking about. And you're not getting any of that.
Yeah. And I don't know if simplification is necessarily the right word for this game, but look at the one goal the Avs score. Comes from your second line guy, and Arturi Lehkonen getting a tip on a puck in front of the net that Manson just throws into the bodies and hopes for the best. And that's the only puck that you beat Tarasov with tonight. Now, some of that is Tarasov played very well, but some of that is the Avs shooting the puck right into his logo, not getting the bodies in front to take away his eyes, just bumbling pucks all night, if we're being honest. There was no real high-level hockey that was clicking for Colorado for the majority of the night. I do wonder if parts of this game's where the Avs failing to recognize the game that they're in, failing to recognize the way they needed to play with tired legs, with a quick turnaround, with the injuries that they're dealing with.
Yeah, there is a part of that for me that is kind of like reading that room. But at the same time, too, there's a reason that this team, we talked in the pregame about this conference being a gauntlet, right? About the East having to earn every single point that they're searching for, regardless of their opponent. And that's what the Florida Panthers are doing. There's a reason that they are the 2-time reigning Stanley Cup champions. They've earned that spot for a reason. Because they play a physical game, because they know what they're putting up against their opponents. And despite the regular season that Bobrovsky's had so far, they've got solid goaltending in net. So regardless of who you're seeing back there, you know you're going to get a solid performance that isn't going to be as simple as floating pucks at the net and hoping and praying something goes in. That's the version of the Florida Panthers that you're getting tonight.
Yeah. The Avs got an injured, but the best the Florida Panthers can give. And we saw who the Florida Panthers were as a team, right? They're going to grind you out. They're going to make your life really difficult. And they might not score the most. They might not be the most dangerous team in the NHL, but when you flub pucks, they're going to pounce on you. And again, the Avs just had no legs. I want to be clear about this. Like, I don't think it was lack of effort from the Colorado Avalanche tonight. I do truly believe they were trying, but we've all had the day where you wake up and go to work and you just have nothing in you and you do what you can do and then you go home and you crash out. That was this game for the Avs. Like,
you also run into a situation too where in a game as close as this, yes, you're hoping for more goals. You're hoping for that higher scoring prowess that the Avs are known for, but a lot of this game was about things that weren't necessarily done in vicinity to the crease, that Florida was just beating the Avs up on in every single area of it. Like, you're talking about board battles, you're talking about those 50-50 pucks, you're talking about the grittiness, the physicality that the Avs got beaten almost every single area.
Yeah.
And in a game like this, I wonder. I mean, we saw what the Avs were capable of against the Panthers earlier this
Yeah,
season. That was
totally.
a beatdown. But I'm more chalking this one up to, okay, you're looking at a Florida team that came out a little more physical, that came out with a little more jump. They're obviously the more rested of the two. Like, it seemed about as scheduled as you could get.
As 24 hours from when we are currently talking right now, the Avs were in the middle of completing a multi-goal comeback in the third period.
Mhm.
Like, there's, if you really want to get that deep into it, maybe you would have liked the Avs to play a little bit better at the Carolina game and play from ahead to save some legs for tonight. But once you were in the room of the third period that the Avs had last night, you knew it was going to be a struggle in some senses for the Avs as far as the little details and the gas and all of that. They ultimately lose, and no one wants to lose, but also every negative point I've made about an individual player, about the teams as a whole, about this game goes away tomorrow. It goes away, honestly, right now, other than the Landy injury. You sit here and you just go, okay, that's a throwaway game. Move on to the next one. And if they look good against Tampa, then you've never think about this hockey game again.
No, as we mentioned in pregame too, the Avs, there's one job when you go into a back-to-back, and the Avs did their job
Yep.
game one. If coming out of this game specifically with a win was just kind of brownie points, in my opinion. But again, you're looking at a road trip where they're playing 3 games in 4 days, and they've already got 2 of the points that they needed, the 2 most necessary points from this back-to-back, arguably.
Yeah, again, if you go in Tampa, you win 2 out of 3 on the road trip. Successful. Done.
You beat the better team of the 2 that you played. Like,
Right.
I'm absolutely okay with that.
I think actually though, this is your fault, Bailey. Okay?
I didn't go down to Florida, guys.
You were not in the building. So
This is what a crazy run. That's all I'll say. This is a theory that needs to be tested a little bit more. I'm dating a scientist, so this is a hypothesis I have to carry out, I guess. We'll see during playoffs. That's going to be the true test.
of course,
And
the
I
Avs
guess
are, go ahead.
no, I was going to say that was going to kind of bring me into a question I wanted to pose to you too. I know we've talked a little bit about, like, when do playoffs start to matter, and when do you start looking at things more in depth from a playoff type lens. But in looking at how the Sams performed, looking at the ways that the Avs were getting beat physically, is physicality for sure on the to-do list for the Avs at the trade deadline?
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason you would be looking for another D is, yes, a lefty, but you also probably want some more size on your defense. The reason you're looking at another 3C is, you don't want to keep playing Ross Colton at 3C, but you probably want some more size. I don't think that's particularly secret, and especially in a world where if Gabe Landeskog is out of the lineup, that takes some physicality away from you for sure. So, it's on the docket for the Avs for sure, regardless of playoffs even.
Yeah, and I don't even know as though I look at specifically a Gabe Landeskog going out as a need for physicality. But the one thing that the Avs were missing with Gabe Landeskog out was that guy who, if one of your guys is going down, he's going to go and beat the crap out of him. He's going to go and be the guy that's going to stand up to whoever is doing his team wrong. And that's now what the Avs have sitting on the sideline here for a little bit. And that to me is kind of what hurts the most, is you lost your accountability guy.
Sure. And no, I think other players can step up there. Manson can do some of that for you, and you'll get by, but certainly you are always trying to get better. But with a need that appears in a game like this, it's definitely one of those things that you keep in the back of your mind come trade deadline time of what the Avs may be looking into more specifically. Probably another stable guy in your own zone, whether it be forward or defenseman on that front too, because you need bodies in the NHL. Very, very few teams get through a season healthy. No teams get through a playoffs healthy. It's just inevitable. Now, you hope you dodge your bullets. You hope the injuries aren't season ending and that they're, reasonable term stuff. And that's great. Sounds like the Avs may be on track to get away with that a little bit with Landy here. Not for sure, but maybe. You still need to be ready for the next man up to be able to do the role in a functional capacity.
Absolutely. Yes. And I look at some of the depth that the Avs have prospect-wise coming up too. Is you look how and Ashan played to. I wonder, what depth and black ace potential he has. But looking at the roster as it stands now, I don't know how you can accomplish maybe what you're looking for in playoffs with Solovyov still on the roster.
I don't think Solovyov is it, and I don't think Ashan is it, not necessarily because of his play.
I don't think so either.
You can't run a defense of Malinsky, Girard, and Ashan in the playoffs. It won't work.
No, not going to happen at all. And that is all just happenstance now. Like we're obviously expecting a Taves to be back before that need occurs, right. But still having somebody maybe a little more reliable as that seventh D man, or somebody who you can kind of sub out for certain games that might be a little more helpful and against some opponents rather than others would be very helpful in the Avs situation here.
They need some defensive consistency and stability. That's where I'm at on that side of it. On the forward side, people are going to take this the wrong way because it's obviously not a good thing. You never want anyone to get injured. If you could choose the option of being perfectly healthy from game one to the final game of the Stanley Cup, you would take it. But is this a little bit of an adversity that the Avs can take and at least learn from, at least do some processing here when it comes to, hey, we're going to have to play some games without Landy and Taves, without Blackwood. We're going to have to learn how to fight against this when some things aren't going our way.
Absolutely. I'd be a little concerned if the Avs made this wonderful Cinderella run to get into the playoffs without some sort of obstacle in their way. This was looking to be a too good to be true type season for the Avs, going in and hitting the halfway mark with 2 regulation losses. Now you're looking at 3 with a more banged up roster than you've seen for the entire season. That you need some of that, or else things are going to come and hit the Avs like a truck come playoffs. They need to be able to say they've gotten through some sort of hard fought, we made it through this, we can make it through anything type situation. And this at least feels like the start of that.
Yeah. Hopefully it's the end of that too, but
hopefully, I mean, again, may not see that until the next few weeks or days or however long it is. I know miss some time is really hard to interpret as far as Jared Bednar is concerned. That could mean a couple games, that could mean double digit type games. Who knows?
Yeah.
But this seems like a sort of adversity that the Avs have not had to deal with yet. And it's ultimately, I mean, you look at what they've done so far this season and think, how can they get stronger? And I think this is a kind of situation that they can work to. They've talked about the next man up mentality all season. They've talked about stepping up in somebody's stead. And this is the first time missing someone where I really feel like it's become a detriment to them that they really need to start to work through.
Yeah, the Avs are that good. They are truly that good of a hockey team. That's why a game like tonight is a bit disappointing for them instead of a normal team who would just be like, yeah, they were never going to win this game. There was never a chance. But with the Avs, you have to go, well, they just keep winning, so maybe they can pull off these games that they're not supposed to. Do we have the last 10, next 10 by chance, Tiff? Just to like, no, I want that one. Oh, either way. Let's not have a meltdown over a loss when their last 10 games were literally all wins, right?
There is not an L in sight.
Yeah.
Yes.
Their last regulation loss was like 26 days ago or something outrageous.
That is absolutely outrageous to me. And in looking at stats too, this is their second 10-game win run of the season.
They did it twice.
Yeah, they did it 2 times this season, which seems astronomically good.
Yep.
So
it is.
like, I don't know. Again, after looking at a loss like this, where you feel like maybe it's the first real scheduled loss of the season. We've joked about it in the past. I mean, with other teams, that might be the case. That truly, like, I mean, it feels that way for some other teams. But the Avs truly have just been that good.
And if you told me that the Avs would win 10 games in a row, but they have to lose the 11th game, sign me up for every stretch of 11 games to look exactly like that.
The longest stretch, I think, came from the Boston Bruins back in the 1940 season or
very
something
real
like
hockey
that.
Back then, yeah.
Where I think it went 14 games. That's not normal numbers. That is like a once in a blue moon type occurrence. So if the Avs get to 10, like if the Avs get to 9, I'm happy. But like the fact that they
get to 5,
double, the fact that they have reached those double digits not once this season but twice is, I mean, what a credit to what this team has done. And we're sitting here breaking down a scheduled loss of the season. So like that's props, absolute props to this team.
If you win 4 out of 5 games, you're an 800 hockey team. Like you're almost certain to win the President's Trophy winning 4 out of 5. And the Avs have won 10 out of 10 multiple times this year.
Mm-hmm. And I just want to point out too, with where the league stands so far, as we've already mentioned, like they have a significant lead on the Stars.
Yep.
Heading into the next few, they could lose their next 2-3 games and still have a very nice leg up on the Stars. Now, obviously, you don't want that to happen, but with the way it's running so far, like you're still 11 points up on the next best team in the league.
Yeah,
like
if given
need to take
breathing room.
Yeah, so like if this is the one where we finally see the Avs, like okay, let's slow down. We've got a little bit of rehabilitation to do where some of our best guys are concerned. Like I'm cool with them doing that for the rest of this road trip. Like if that's the question here.
The Avs are, I can't see the future. I don't know how many games they're going to win in the next 10, but if they end up losing a bunch in a row, then yeah, you start to sit here and go, all right, there's some problems. But even then, they've been so good in the first half of the year that they've given themselves that cushion that you're talking about. I see the Toyota chat talking about it. I think the real threat is still Dallas. Minnesota is right there, but they've played significantly more games. I believe the Avs, even after tonight, still have 2 games in hand on them. And Dallas also has a game in hand on them. So I think Dallas is the bigger threat of the two. But also, we're talking about the Avs being, Dallas got a point tonight. So are they 11 points or 10 points up on Dallas now? I forget.
69 to 58.
All right. So still 11 points up on Dallas with the game in hand, by the way. So the Avs are comfortable. Now, do you want to keep your lead? Of course. But they've put themselves in a place where if they do falter for a week, it won't matter.
Yep. So Avs are 1 point away from being the first team to 70 points this season. Like I'm chill.
Still
I'm
potentially
cool.
could
good.
do it before anyone gets to 60. Like
yeah. So there is that, which is, as somebody who covers the team, terrifying. So
we do have one super chat to get to here, and then we'll start winding down the show. $2 from Ryan, who says, I sacrificed third period mojo to protect Landy's knee. Acceptable.
We thank you for your sacrifice. Yeah. Thank you.
Not Landy's knee.
All of,
yeah. Also, like, it would have been the other knee if it was the knee. Like, it wasn't his messed up knee.
As I mentioned, though, yeah. Demons avoided.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's everyone loves to speculate, right? Like it's what you do as a fan, and a lot of people jump to the worst possible conclusion. A lot of people jump to the best possible conclusion, and usually it ends up being somewhere in between. You probably got somewhere in between with this Landy injury. It certainly isn't a knee. We know that for sure. That's one of the things we know for sure.
As I mentioned, I was scared at first, and I'm sitting there refreshing my phone every 5 seconds, trying to find something that maybe Mosier and Rycroft hadn't seen on the broadcast yet. But I'm very glad it turned out the way that it did. What we've learned today is Florida ice just sucks in general from the last couple games.
It was
in
bad,
Florida.
Yeah,
it was really bad today, but that's what we've learned from this, and hopefully, again, we can misinterpret Bednar's comments all we want, but let's hope that it's days and not weeks that we're missing Landeskog.
I'm not going to be that hopeful, but I will hope it's weeks and not months.
Yes,
I think that's a reasonable expectation given what
Absolutely.
we know. But also, like, low key, Landy's going to hit that rehab trail hard to get good to go for the Olympics, but.
Yeah, no, as much as, health comes first. And if anybody knows this, it's Gabe Landeskog. Like, you don't want to rush things at all. We've seen the process that he went through the last 3 years to get back to where he was at. He's not going to, he's going to hit the ground running. Absolutely. But if anybody's going to sit there and say, we got to do this the right way, not the, fast way, it's a guy like Gabe Landeskog.
Yep. He is not a rookie to this, like you said. So he'll know what to do.
That is true.
Yeah. Here's the what, huh? Okay, it's fine. The next 10, Tampa, tough opponent, tough 3 and 4 situation. No one's going to tell you the Avs have an easy spot there. Then you get a stretch of a little bit all over the place. You get some East Coast teams that are in that battle range but are beatable. A team like Columbus, certainly beatable. You get another go against Nashville. You have an Anaheim team that's fallen off. The Avs are not really going to run the gauntlet through the most of January. They're going to have, I wouldn't call them softballs, but beatable teams. This might be a decent stretch of time to face some of that adversity we were talking about earlier.
If this is the stretch that they have to go through some of that with, I'm very pleased. And obviously, there's really no point in the schedule here, just with the way that it's structured and the time frame and the vicinity of which games are scheduled to each other, that is easy. That's the beauty of hockey, is any team can win on any given night, despite how depleted or how beatable they might be. And as of right now, everybody is beatable to the Colorado Avalanche. That's just the way that they're playing. But if you're looking at a stretch of games, as you said, for some of this talent to be missing or some of this accountability, to be missing defensively. The perfect stretch to do it.
Yep. A realistic goal of every 10 is 7-3. The Avs have been obscenely good, so 8-2 or better has been the mission for most of this season. But if the Avs go 7-3 across this stretch, I think you're happy.
Yep. So
that's
there we
it.
go.
That's all I got, Bailey. Any final thoughts here?
I got nothing.
All right. We'll leave it at that. Obviously, when we know more about Landy, you'll know more, but something tells me we won't know more until they get back to Colorado. So be prepared for living with a bit of a mystery, even if we do have some idea now. We appreciate all y'all hanging out. Even when the Avs lose, y'all are awesome. We love you in chat, and we'll be here even when the Avs lose. So come join us. We are off tomorrow, but we'll be back, of course, for Tuesday's game. So we'll see you at that one, and then we're going all week next week. The holidays are over, so it's back on the grind. This has been the DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by Bet365.
We all silly like the mayor.